Hi, I'm Sally Hiller, a member of the Southeastern District Task Force for Disaster Preparedness and Response. And I'm here with three other members of this task force. We're here to share with you what we have learned in our work with disaster response. It is our hope that you will take advantage of the 6 modules we've prepared for you so that your congregation can be prepared in advance of a disaster. There are 2 very important reasons for that. 1, so that you can provide for your own members' care and well-being, and secondly, so that you can be in the presence of the need of your community, serving as Christ would call us to be serving, hands and feet, compassion and mercy, hope and encouragement. The people with me are going to introduce themselves, and they bring an incredible amount of experience in disaster work. I would like to introduce Nelson, a member of our task force, and to invite him to share his experience in disaster response.
Yes, thank you for this opportunity. I worked for the Department of Defense for a number of years, and I was involved with mega disasters on an international level. After I retired from the government, was looking for a career. One of the things that I noticed was Hurricane Katrina. I was very touched by what I saw. So I went down there several times to volunteer for the New Orleans and Mississippi. And I was very touched by the people that I saw, what they lost, and also saw congregation devastated. There wasn't anything left. After helping these many people, I decided, what can I do personally to prevent this happening from me and also to support my congregation? The pastor asked me, Nelson, could you help us to develop an emergency plan? That's how I got involved, and I've seen a lot of changes that have occurred in our congregation, and I hope to continue to pass this on to other people. Thank you.
Tom is a member of one of our congregations in the district as well, and he brings with him a vast experience at the community level with disaster preparedness.
Hello, I'm Tom Lambiase. I have deployed 4 times down to the Gulf states in response to Katrina, and I've seen firsthand the devastation that one of those hurricanes can do, not only to churches but to the community at large. I've also spent some time in our own Huntington backyard in Alexandria, Virginia, working a flood that happened there a few years ago. I served with Fairfax County Faith Communities in Action Emergency Planning Steering Committee, planning for disaster response at the Fairfax County level as well, working with churches, mosques, synagogues on a multi-denominational level. What we are trying to do is learn from mistakes that have happened, learn from what didn't go right in Katrina, and apply that to planning in advance of the next disaster. It's not a matter of if it's going to happen, it's when, and the time to prepare is now, not after the disaster occurs. So we are really looking for the participation and the support and the help of all the congregations and every individual. It starts at an individual level with personal responsibility and personal preparation, and works up from there through the congregation into the community, where we can be Christ's representatives to others. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce Liz, who serves as the coordinator, the gatherer of the disaster information. We lovingly call her the disaster lady, and she is the one that people would most likely see presenting workshops at our various events. One of the areas that she has a special connection to in disaster response is connecting us to our national office through human care in times of disaster. So I'm going to ask her to speak a little bit about the bigger church picture.
Okay. Well, like most people, you really don't think about disasters until suddenly you are faced with one. And I think that that's exactly what happened with Katrina. Yes, we had heard about hurricanes in the past, and many people had been involved in recovery from those hurricanes like down in Florida, and of course we're aware of the tornadoes and all. But I think it took something as vast as Katrina for all of us to wake up and realize that it is our responsibility to respond. We were very blessed that our church body, the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod, chose a wonderful way to help the people who were suffering down in the Gulf region. At that time, 4 years ago, when Katrina hit, the church body assigned districts to congregations down there that had lost everything. And that's sort of when I came on board with this whole response to disaster. And at that time, we were given 2 congregations, just as every district was given, to help those people. And at that time, we chose as a Southeastern district to work directly with the churches and identify families who had lost everything. And then we had congregations within our district then take on the responsibility of being a connection to those families. And the relationships that were forged at that time were just amazing. Since that time, still many of our congregations still have connections to the families that they helped 4 years ago. And even greater in some ways is the fact that many of our congregations are still responding by sending groups down. The work is far from done down in the Gulf region. And so we do have many groups that continue to go down. A lot of this is being still coordinated by our church body with the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod, World Relief and Human Care, and they are still providing guidance and training for us as district coordinators to help us then better respond to the needs in the event that something happens within our own district. And so that's why we are in the process of putting together this training that will then help our congregations be ready to respond in the event of an emergency in their geographical area, or to receive training so that they can then be deployed to areas where that help is needed. It is an ongoing process, as has been mentioned. The way we can best respond is if we know how to respond and where to respond. Because of my involvement with this, I also serve with Tom on the Fairfax County agency that provides information to the church community. That I also have received CERT training, which is something that I would encourage many people to do. So you can be involved in your own community and knowing how your community is going to respond to an emergency or a disaster. So the work is getting started in this and being prepared so that when it does happen, you are prepared to respond with God's mercy to those who are in need of His love.